Nigeria Info 99.3. Good morning to you, Lagos. Welcome back to Dailies today. Michael just took you through the big stories in the sports world. Right now, it's time to bring some context to the headlines that you've been hearing all morning. I'm Sheriff Quadri.
And I'm Jimi. Disu. Good morning.
You can watch this on Facebook and on YouTube. Nigeria Info 99.3 is how you can watch the show on Facebook and on YouTube. Right? And drop your comments there. Please share the live stream. Just share to your loved ones. Let everybody, get access to watching the show and, of course, learning one or two things from it. And perhaps the chance for them to be able to have a say as well by dropping their comments. Let's start with the Daily Trust newspaper, page 40. Tinubu sets aside NTA appointments, recalls DG ED news.
But I have to change my glasses. One is for sight and one is for reading. Okay, here we go. Okay, so the story is that the president or the presidency or the president approved the appointment of a gentleman, Mr. Pedro. No, was that his name? I think I remember his name now. Anyway, he was appointed the DG of NTA almost about 6 weeks ago. Everybody congratulated him, including the Old Boys Association of my school. We all congratulated him. I don't know who went to church with him the following Sunday. He must have done some Thanksgiving. He must have gotten a deluge of requests, those who want to do contracts, those who want to whatever. His appointment was announced. Then, yesterday, the special advisor to the president said that he had directed the recall of Saliu Abdullahi Dembos, who was the original DG at that time. He was now recalled. He was now recalled back to NTA, and asked. No, let me get this right. The president directed the recall of Saliu Dembos, the Director General of the NTA, who was asked to vacate the position following management changes in the agency. Dembos, who was appointed DG in 2023, October, was recently asked to vacate his position because the president had made new appointments. But according to a statement by Ononuga, Dembos will return to complete his 3-year tenure. The president similarly directed that the Mr. Ayo Adewuyi, who is the executive director of news, should go back to his position. Ayo Adewuyi was appointed by the president in 2024 to the position. Now, so that means that the new appointments that are made are now null and void. That is not the way to run a country. It's very, very embarrassing. But the trust goes further. It says previous appointment reversals by Tinubu. Last month, a statement by Ononuga announced that the president reappointed Muhib Dankaka as chairperson of the Federal Character Commission. He was still celebrating hours later when he replaced her with a former member of House of Reps, Ayo Midiran. In the statement sent by Ononuga, the presidency announced that Tinubu had approved a second 5-year term for Ms. Dankaka alongside the appointment of Mohamed Musa as the commission secretary and a full list of commissioners. Kayode Oladile from Ogun State was retained as commissioner after having served as acting chairman following the expiration of Dankaka's first term. Honorable Emeka Atuma, who was recently announced as chairman of the Southeast Development Commission, was replaced by Emeka Nwogo. All 3 executive directors initially nominated were also replaced, while 2 additional executive directors were named. The president also removed the name of one of the board members, Donatus Oyinaya Nwakpa, and replaced the executive director for finance. So there's been previous, in fact, last year was worse than this. The question is, it brings to mind the question, one, who is running the government? Are appointments being made without the final clearance of the president? It might appear so. It might appear so. And that is very dangerous. When an announcement comes that the president has appointed XYZ person, simple common sense tells you that the person would have gotten security clearance, the necessary balancing would have been done. So when the president signs off on it, and it would have been consulted, when the president signs off on it, it will be good to go. But this repeated experience that we have shows that either the president is not directly in charge of things that are going on, or we will begin to doubt his competence level. That is the staring reality. If you keep recalling, either some people are doing some things in the president's name, and maybe it is only not long after that you know the president himself will hear, or the president is showing some lack of competence in what I call detail. I had said this at the beginning. It is not some people. As an adult, as a 70-year-old, there are some things I cannot do. People have said, for example, go to politics. I cannot be a good administrator. So one is not trying to ridicule anybody. All of us have our competence levels, and I had said, given the character of the president, who apparently would spend more of his time on politics than this, it is good that he has a very solid and competent chief of staff. And I don't need to go into an argument to understand that it was Fashola that helped him in his years as governor in Lagos. If you see, when Fashola came on his second term, that brought some stability and some progress to what's happening. These things happen. And like I said, it's not a minus. One is not abusing anybody. We all have our competent skills and things that we cannot do. You can't invite me now to come and deliver a lecture. I won't go. I won't do it. I'm not good at public speaking. So we all have our competence levels, and therefore, when we are given positions of authority like this, there must be a balance. This is one embarrassment too many. And guess what? The country suffers for it. Look, there is nothing hidden. Embassies have their attaches or whatever that write weekly reports about the country. This somersaults that we keep having is a minus. I worked for Chief Bode Akindele in 1983. The experience that I got there, just 1 year, I got there, it opened my eyes to a lot of things. What am I talking about? Chief Bode Akindele of blessed memory started building he was involved in building of a flour mills. I think it was Crown Flour Mills. I'm not too sure. This was 83. At the time when we were about to launch the flour mills, government banned the importation of flour overnight. I've never forgotten that. And so one of the things that will attract foreign investors is stability in the way you run your country. When you have policy reversals, it is a minus for business people. It is a minus for serious investors. So what we're going to have are buccaneers. People who just want to come in, get what they can, and disappear. And, so we need to be very careful. Recently, we celebrated that the president went to Brazil. Now we have a license to go direct flights to Brazil. The question to ask, and I'm still going to bring Ohuayo there. The question to ask is, how many people will go to Brazil in a week? First of all, there's no big deal about Basa agreements. Because it benefits both parties.
Mm-hmm.
Or it should benefit both parties. So we say, okay, air peace will go to Brazil. Even if they go once a week, they can't fill that plane.
Mm.
And Nigeria is not a hub. It's difficult for you to say, okay, let me come to Nigeria. From there, go to neighboring countries. We don't have that arrangement yet. So somebody must sit the president down and say to him that you need to tidy up the very little things. All these highfalutin things like the economy is now steady, this and that, I'm traveling to this for that is not governance. It's the little things like this that that give confidence or otherwise to people that matter. I'm very embarrassed at this. When I saw it this morning, I knew though somebody had told me about 2 weeks ago that there were doubts about the new NTA, appointments, especially as the new DG again was from Lagos State at that time. But I think that if I had my advice, you should have thought of all this before the appointment, and you should have just let it slide. I hope this is the last of these things that we will see. I sincerely do hope so. So we can move on to the next story.
Let's move on to the next story, actually. This is Nigeria News Direct. You can resign freely. No more compulsory 15-year service. Court tells security operatives.
This story I'm about to tell you won't believe it, Sheriff. Before this court ruling, if you signed on to serve in the military, you had to work for 15 years before you could leave. And that's one major reason why I ended up not joining the Air Force in 1981.
Oh, really? That's one major reason.
That was the major reason. Because during my youth service and so on, and just before that, I mingled with a lot of army officers and whatever.
Okay.
Because they were in government then. Even as a copper, I would go to the mess and so. So I already had this idea that, and then if I tell you this, if you laugh, I'll be very offended. You will hear from my lawyer.
I'll try now.
I already joined the Air Force, principally because I liked their uniform.
Because of our uniform?
Because I liked their uniform. It was one of the reasons. I was a young boy now. The other reason was that if you see the welfare of second lieutenants, equivalent of second lieutenants in the Air Force then, the houses they were given, the cars they could drive. And those of them who were pilots, within 6 months of your joining the Air Force, it's likely you're good for a course in America. So you come back with a flashy car.
Nice.
Things like that. So it was, if you see, I was in Benin. I did my service in Benin. There was a whole, like an estate full of nice bungalows, nicely furnished. It was rented by the Air Force. So the major reason why I didn't join at that time was this 15-year rule that and now I'm too restless. I don't think I've been in any employment for more than growing up for more than 3 years. I was too restless. The economy was vibrant. Before you left university, you were given a job. John Holtz or UAC will come hunting when you're in part 3. People like my friend John Ade, he enjoyed mobile scholarship, but ended up in total. Country was vibrant. That is what Holtz won. Anyway, before I digress on the story that has no direct bearing on this, what it means now is that the Nigerian Industrial Court has struck down a policy that forced Nigerian military officers to serve a minimum of 15 years before being allowed to resign, and they declared it unconstitutional. This had been in effect for close to 40, 50 years. I don't know how long, but this is what it is now. So you can join the force today, and I think maybe resign tomorrow. I don't know how that goes. But that's it.
But how do you think this will impact the security agencies?
Well,
that's where my mind went straight to when I saw the story.
What it means is that you're going to have a lot of ad hoc membership of the military. Those who maybe don't have a job, let me run to the military first. When I settle down after a year or two, I find my way. Oh yeah, that's what you're going to have. You're going to have people with less commitment. You're going to have people with less, not necessarily because of the rule, but because the public service is not encouraging to anybody, unless you are doing something on the side. Maybe you are stealing the bulb or doing some deals or whatever. The average civil servant now must do something to survive. Most of the time, deals. Yes.
And looking at the fact that this is security we're talking about.
Yes.
What sort of pressure does this put on the government?
I don't think it will be any worse, because you need to ask yourself, in all honesty, how well are our current armed forces motivated? When I'm still bringing people who fought during the Civil War and haven't collected their money, and you still have elderly men shutting down the Ministry of Finance in Abuja because they haven't gotten their money. You understand? So what you find, what you're going to find in the military, if care is not taken, is you're only going to find people who join the military as a last resort. With this new rule now, fantastic, is a holding gap. You can join for a year or two, whilst your brother in Abuja or your brother whatever begins to hunt for a job for you in Central Bank or the Customs.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
That's the way I see it. I could be wrong,
Okay.
but that's the way I see it. I'm not be. I will ask a good friend one of these days, Blade.
Does that mean the government will probably be pressured to want to make it more attractive for people to stay by providing necessary things? I mean, maybe
Look,
increasing their pay, for instance.
Look, you have had a very good opportunity to make this job attractive to other people. Every time you hear at the top, it's something different. Oh, a major general has an estate of 25 houses. Oh, this is that. Look at salary of House of Red. Look at how much do you pay your soldiers? How much do you pay your policemen? So unless we have a president who is interested deeply in the welfare of people and stability, we are not going to have it. Our current president is interested mainly in politics. He's a politician through and through. So he has settled more or less. When I say settled, I mean that he has paid attention to the judiciary. He has paid attention to his political whatever. The RMDC or RMAFC. Now they are going to find how they are going to increase that of public officers. The concentration is on politics. And it is a very dangerous phenomenon.
Yeah.
I don't know how you led me to this discussion.
I'm just.
You are very wicked. It's a very dangerous phenomenon, because what it does, let me be honest with you, Sheriff. What it does is that it's like a little boil that is going to become a cancer. It begins to eat you bit by bit. The day it blows up to be a cancer. And I'm surprised the political, up till now, I'm surprised they don't get it. I'm surprised. Sorry to repeat the same old refrain. Here you are, because you are in the Senate, you get 160 million to buy a vehicle for yourself. And then you now tell permanent secretaries and so on, all these other people, the doctors, to come and line up for one cheap. In fact, there's nothing for them. There's nothing practically for them. And you think that you can continue with that imbalance? Then we need to tell ourselves some home truths. It's not a matter of nobody wants to destabilize anything, but it's just not fair. As you're on strike day in, day out, day in, day out, but political office holders are having a good time, the judiciary are having a good time. A civil servant cannot live in a 3-bedroom flat in Bode Thomas and send 2 of his children to school on his legitimate salary, Kotobe. And we know what it used to be. I'm a child of, my mother worked in Port Authority all her life. She stayed there, Port Authority, all her life. my dad was a lawyer with the Ministry of Justice and then was moved around government as legal advisor and so on and so forth. They were not rich people. If I think about the job that my dad did till he died from service, I should have been the son of a billionaire. I shouldn't be here. It was not like that in their own time. It was not like that. You talked about the super pump sex. Yes, they wielded a lot of power. Yes, some of them were involved in 5%, 10%. But this one is winner takes all. And we keep saying that a country that continues along this trajectory is headed for doom, and it's just round the corner.
Just round the corner.
Mark my words. Unless something happens.
Let's go to our next story in the Vanguard. National Convention. PDP draws battle line with Wike's camp.
I don't know why
It's everywhere.
I heard you this morning, and as far as I'm concerned, I don't understand the Nigerian politician how you would allow one man and a group of his minions to hold the whole party to ransom. It is very, very clear to anybody. It is very, very clear that Ike's aim, what did I call it? Wike's aim is to sabotage
the
PDP for the sake of the APC. Why did the APC suddenly win the local governments in Rivers State? You should read the tea. Don't let's waste time on all this. It's up to the PDP. If they want to, I like facing things head on. That's why I always think you have to translate. Even though Mama Wosiko.
You damn the consequence.
No, that's not. I'm thinking of the direct translation. But in all honesty, because the Wike camp have put up 6 demands, but Bala Mohammed said that the PDP governors will not allow the party to be dragged into self-destruction. Damagun, the national chairman, said we won't buckle under pressure. Wabara says few can't hold. I've always asked Chief Bode George off air that why is it that does this man is he blackmailing all of you? Does he have a file on each and every one? Possibly. I know Wike can be when he was asked why, he said yes, he has a Rolls Royce and that his father was a general manager of several companies. I don't know how you can be a general manager of several countries, but yeah, you understand what I'm saying. I suspect some level of blackmail. And everybody probably believes, because I don't know what is holding the party up from getting rid of this guy.
You think they should do that?
Of course now. If I was a top member of the party, that's what I'll be pushing for. Why are you?
I'm just asking now. Is that?
Look, if for as long as Wike is a legitimate member of the PDP, they will know no peace. They will know no peace now. Isn't it apparent? I think he said that in the next election he's going to support President Bola Tinubu. So why are you bothered about him? Do you think that Wike spirit is in PDP? Unfortunately, he had better be careful about joining the APC, because from feelers that I have from my friends who are in the APC, they don't want him.
They don't want him in the APC.
They don't want him. And I think this guy also mentioned it before he died. Just to take.
Yes, it's that guy.
Yeah. But by the way, I think it's just been buried.
Oh, okay.
You see, life. There was a time just to take would speak, and the whole world would shake. By the time he was dead, that was it. He was out of it. That's the way life is.
Lesson. Let's take one more. This is our parting shot. Let's take one more. Visa overstay. US, UK ramp up warnings. May ban violators.
Look, there's another new set of new issues that have cropped up with. I just say, in all honesty, for now, and you might as well add the UK to it, because the truth is that the UK is facing now serious issues with immigration, immigration issues. And excuse me, every other day there is something new that is being cropped up to make sure that they stop the influx into their country, which is legitimate.
It's their country.
It's their country. We did it in 83 before people start shouting. We did it in 83. I was working in the ponds then. It was a solid sight to see. There were close to about 50 trailers, and we loaded Ghanaians in it and threw them across the border.
Ooh.
So self-preservation is the name of the game. So the truth is, if you don't have something serious doing, and if you haven't tidied yourself up, this is not a time to think of Jackpot. Let me put it bluntly to you.
Okay. All right. Let's leave it here for this morning. He's back at 9 for the Ebony Daily Digest, right?
Yes.
Thank you all for being a part of it.
7 p.m. Don't knack, na yellow clock be that.
Yes, so better come as the MTN Mega
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria.